What's going on, YouTube? So today we're going to be doing a Pokemon that I've only seen one person do a solo run with, and that's its first form, and that was done by Scott's Thoughts. But we're going to be looking at Seaking, and its stats, on paper at least, are nothing that really jumps out at you. 385 total, it's got good attack and decent enough special, and having Peck on our moveset will make the bug catchers pretty easy, and the rival's Bulbasaur early on easy, but that's really it. And to talk about the move pool, if we take a look at the move pool, it's the only Pokemon that learns Waterfall, in Gen 1 at least, but in terms of attacking moves, it only learns Water, Normal, and Ice moves. Yeah, we have Peck in the beginning, but it's 35 base power, and it's not going to stay on our moveset, probably past Lieutenant Surge's gym. And if it weren't for Tail Whip and Supersonic on our moveset, Brock would be a hard wall for this Pokemon. But luckily, as I mentioned earlier, with Peck, at least the bug catchers in Viridian Forest aren't a problem. I also battled the optional rival, just because Peck made quick work of Bulbasaur, and we can level up pretty quickly before Brock. And I'm going to take Brock on at level 12. And the strategy here is use Supersonic to confuse Geodude, hit it with Tail Whips, and pray. My second Supersonic hits as Geodude hits itself a few times, and that's pretty good because we get it down to half health. However, when it snaps out of confusion, I miss 7 Supersonics in a row. That's right, 7. 55 base accuracy. Gotta love it. Geodude also crits me with a tackle in that span. It also gets up enough defense curls to undo all of the tail whips that I hit it with in the beginning, which is unfortunate, but we do eventually confuse it again. I go for Peck just to test some damage and it's not doing a lot. I'm better off just confusing it again and going for Tail Whip, and eventually we do get by the Geodude. But we only have 8 HP for Onix, and that's where things get tough. Onix outspeeds and goes for Bide immediately. I do get lucky by confusing it, and we're able to lower its defense some with Tail Whips. But because it outspeeds, I don't want to attack it with Peck, because Bite at that point will knock me out. And after getting hit with Screech, a single tackle will knock me out as well. So we're just trying to get lucky against Onix, but our luck is going to run out as it hits us with Tackle and knocks us out. I tried one more time, but the battle went similar to the first, so I come back at level 13 after a damage rounding threshold. And the strategy is still the same: confuse Geodude, hit it with Tail Whips, hope it hits itself, and hope for the best. This battle goes a lot quicker than the first, as we don't have quite as bad of Supersonic luck, only missing once, and we get to the Onix with green health. The key difference with level 13 is that we now outspeed the Onix, so we're not going to be attacking into Bide. And just like with Geodude, I want to hit it with Tail Whip, I want to confuse it, which I'm not getting very good luck with Supersonic early on, and I'm hoping for the best. Unfortunately, Seaking doesn't have the best defense, and I do get hit with Screech, which makes Tackle do a whole lot more damage. And I do get worried for a little bit here once we get into yellow health, but Onix locks itself into Bide, and it's at low enough HP for us to knock it out. And overall, Seaking's Brock split wasn't bad. It only took us 31 minutes in-game time to get by Brock. And things are going to slightly open up for us from here on. We are going to get access to a stab move soon, and with some bug catchers coming up, that's easy training for us. For a Pokemon like Seaking that I expect to struggle in the mid-game, getting levels early on will definitely help out. And I mentioned that we would get access to a stab move soon. Well, right in Mount Moon, going left, you can get TM12, which is the TM for Water Gun, which will go on our moveset immediately and will help us out with some of the optional hikers in here. And while it's only 40 base power, we do have 80 base special, so it's good for the time being. Let's pick it up at the end of Mount Moon where we take the Superior Fossil in the Dome Fossil. And after this Geodude encounter, we can get our post-Mount Moon timestamp, which is 50 minutes in-game time. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. I'm going to take on Misty next. Because of Misty's good AI, she will never use any of her water attacks against us. She leads with Staryu, and Peck appears to be a 4-hit KO. Staryu's tackle crits, which doesn't do much, and even after the X defend, it's still a 4-hit KO with Peck. And now comes Starmie. And against Starmie, I do the same strategy that I did for Brock, which is to hit it with Supersonic, hit it with some Tail Whips, and hope that it hits itself as I whittle it down with Peck. Misty using an X defend definitely doesn't help, and while Starmie does get us down to 14 HP, we're able to outlast it and get the win. And with the victory, Water Gun doesn't stay on our moveset for long, as we upgrade it to Bubble Beam. We can go ahead and face Rival 2 next, and this battle is not a problem for Seaking like it was with Dondozo. We do have to Pidgeotto with Bubble Beam, who hits us with Gust and Quick Attack before we knock it out. Up next is Abra, who has Frail Defense, one Peck will take it out. We level up going into the Rattata. I wasn't sure if Bubble Beam would be a one-hit KO on it. It hits me with Quick Attack, and Bubble Beam is a one-hit KO. All that's left is the Bulbasaur, and Peck does over 3/4 damage to it. It just misses Growl, and we're able to knock it out. And this is probably one of the few battles that Peck is really useful. Never did I ever think I would say those words in a solo run. Nugget Bridge is next, and there's some optional hikers afterwards that will be some good experience for Seaking. We can go ahead and pick this up in the SSN. Unfortunately, Seaking cannot learn Body Slam, so we're going to be skipping it. But we will be picking up the Gentleman Candy on our way out. But for now, we're going to take on Rival 3. Just like with Rival 2, he leads with Pidgeotto. I go for Bubble Beam and get a critical hit one-shot. Raticate is next, and it also goes down to one Bubble Beam. The Rival follows with Kadabra, who I accidentally use Supersonic against. It disables it, and I just go for Horn Attack. It's a one-hit KO. All that's left is Ivysaur. I go for Horn Attack. I meant to go for Peck. It does nearly half. Vine Whip does about 20 HP, and Peck is able to finish it off. Unfortunately for Seaking, after we get cut from the captain, we're not going to be battling Lieutenant Surge, no. I mean, could we win? Theoretically, yes. If I were to confuse Raichu, hit it with Tail Whip, and it were to hit itself every time, yeah. And of course we'd have to one-shot Pikachu, but I doubt that's going to happen. Instead, we're going to head through Rock Tunnel, and there's no trainers in there that give us any problem. The self-destructing hiker isn't a problem because we have Bubble Beam. We can just go ahead and pick it up at our post-Rock Tunnel timestamp. 1 hour 34 minutes in-game time. Not bad. And the mid-game is where Seaking can really start to improve its moveset. We can get access to Ice Beam at Celadon. We can get Horn Drill from the Rocket Game Corner. I totally put Horn Drill on my moveset immediately and hold off on Ice Beam. We could also get Surf from the Safari Zone, but I'm going to opt for Waterfall instead because, well, I like the signature move. Let's just go ahead and pick this up in Celadon City, where we're going to head to the Rocket Game Corner first, where we can pick up the high money items along with the TM for Horn Drill, which I'm not going to teach just yet, and battle Giovanni. And Giovanni, per usual, is not tough. Onix goes down in one Bubble Beam, Rhyhorn goes down in one Bubble Beam, and while Kangaskhan takes 3 times as many attacks as the other 2 Pokemon, it doesn't do much to us. We can knock it out and claim the Sylph Scope from Giovanni. Now, in most of my runs after beating Giovanni, I like to do my Celadon shopping and then head to Pokemon Tower. However, for Seaking, I'm going to battle Lieutenant Surge next. We should be at a high enough level now to one-shot Raichu, and if not, let's just hope that Thunderbolt doesn't one-shot us. Good news is that Bubble Beam one-shots Voltorb. We level up going into Pikachu, and it should be a one-shot as well, and it is. Good. Alright, now for Raichu. Bubble Beam does over half to it. Thunder Shock doesn't do much but paralyzes me. It goes for Thunder Shock again, but we get through the paralysis and Bubble Beam hits to knock it out. So I guess I'll never know if Thunderbolt would have one-shot me or not. We can use Fly outside of battle now though, so I'm going to fly to Lavender Town and take on the Rival next. I don't anticipate it being too difficult, but he does have a Gyarados now who we can't really do much against. Pidgeotto is the lead. I go for Bubble Beam as it does 3/4 and hits me with Sand Attack. Thankfully we get through and knock it out with a Bubble Beam. Horn Attack appears to be a 3-hit KO on Gyarados. It hits me with Bite and then Leer. Thankfully it doesn't do too much in this battle, but it will be a problem later on. We're able to knock it out. Growlithe, it's gonna go down to 1 Bubble Beam. It's never a threat. Kadabra, I have Horn Attack for it. It's going to be a 1-hit KO, but the real question I have is how much is Horn Attack going to do to Ivysaur? We level up going into it, and Horn Attack does half. Okay, it goes for Leech Seed. We're able to knock it out the next turn. With the rival out of the way, we can progress through Pokemon Tower. The Ghastlies here are no threat because we still do have Bubble Beam, and we have to decide where to go next afterwards. The smartest play is to go to Cycling Road and head to Fuchsia City. And I'm going to battle a few of these optional hikers. Not that I think we're under-leveled for Koga, but I don't think we're going to be doing enough damage to his Pokemon, and I think by the time we would get to Weezing, we'd just be too whittled down and it could knock us out pretty easily, whether it be with Sludge or Self-Destruct. Not to mention that a few of these extra levels can help with the next rival battle, but there's also Rockets and Silph.Co for additional training if needed. By the time we take on Koga, I'm level 40, about to be level 41. Waterfall doesn't quite one-shot the first coughing, it just goes for Tackle though, not doing much. We're able to knock it out the next turn. We level up going into the Muck. Waterfall looks like it's a 4-hit KO on Muck, as it goes for Disable, and disables it. So, I go for Horn Drill and get a hit. Glad I was able to get one of those off. Against the second coughing, I miss Horn Drill as it misses Tackle. I go for Horn Attack, and it looks like a 3-hit KO, and will be thanks to the critical hit. We have plenty of HP moving on to the Weezing, and we're no longer disabled. I start spamming Horn Drill, hoping for the hit, as Koga boosts its attack with 2 X attacks, and then Smog poisons me. I decide to go for Supersonic, which does hit, and Weezing hits itself. I go for Waterfall, doing about half, and Weezing hits itself again, giving us the win. Definitely not the way I thought that battle would go. I thought for sure that was going to be a reset, but I'm glad we got the win. Luck and all. We're going to head through the Safari Zone next to pick up the final HMs of the run, and I'm actually not going to put Surf on Seaking's moveset, because I don't want to be restricted. You can't delete HM moves once you teach them, and I feel like we're going to have to change up our moveset quite a bit for the league. We are eventually going to learn Agility, we may have to use Mimic, and we do have a higher physical attack stat than special stat. And while Takedown and Double Edge are physical attack options, our defense stat and HP stat aren't the greatest, and the recoil would add up quickly in battle. Let's go ahead and make our way to Silph.Co, where it's time for everybody's least favorite rival battle, Rival Fivel. And I don't mean to spoil this battle, but I do lose this first attempt, and I'll talk about why after the battle. He leads with Pidgeot. I'm going to go for Waterfall, and it's doing over half by the looks of it. Pidgeot hits me with Wing Attack, it doesn't do too much. We knock it out with another Waterfall, and here's where the battle just goes downhill. And it's from my poor move choices. I'm just spamming Horn Drill against Gyarados, hoping for the 1-hit KO. I don't get it, and it's able to knock me out with a combination of Bite and Dragon Rage. And while I know Horn Attack isn't the best attacking move, it was probably the best choice to use on Gyarados. But this is also a great time to teach Ice Beam to Seaking, because it should one-shot Pidgeot, and I'm going to need it for Venusaur. Getting rid of Supersonic for Ice Beam might have been a bad call, but I'll see over time. Ice Beam doesn't one-shot Pidgeot, and it's only doing a little bit more than Waterfall did. We're back onto Gyarados. Ice Beam is doing maybe a 1/6 to it. I keep going for Ice Beam, hoping for the freeze, but it ends up being a 4-hit KO, and Gyarados ended up dealing a lot of damage to us when we still have Alakazam and Venusaur to deal with. Growlithe, however, is no concern. It goes down to 1 Waterfall. Out comes Alakazam. Horn Attack does well over half. It disables Horn Drill, that's fine. Horn Attack can knock it out, and now I need some luck against Venusaur. Ice Beam does over half, and it goes for Leech Seed. And that's just the luck I needed, because Razor Leaf would have one-shot me, even from full health. The only thing left to do is to battle Giovanni, and I did get poisoned by the Rocket Grunt outside of his chambers beforehand. But I feel like coming to this battle poisoned makes it a little easier. because Nidoqueen can't paralyze you with Body Slam at that point, and all of his Pokemon are 2-shots with Waterfall, with the exception of Rhyhorn, who goes down to 1. And with that battle out of the way, let's go ahead and take on Sabrina to wrap up business in Saffron. And although we only have Horn Attack on our moveset as a physical option, it's almost enough to get the job done. While we don't one-shot Kadabra, Sabrina does go for a Hyper Potion, giving us another chance at the one-shot, which we do get. Mr. Mime is next. Horn Attack does over half as it goes for Light Screen. We're able to knock it out the next turn. We level up going into Venomoth. Waterfall does over half to it as it hits me with Stun Spore and then Psybeam. Thankfully we're not confused and we're able to knock it out, but out comes Alakazam. And this battle is annoying. It hits me with Psybeam to bring me to red health. Horn Attack is doing over half, but because of paralysis, it keeps healing up with Recover while I'm fully paralyzed. Eventually it goes for Reflect to lessen the damage from Horn Attack, so I switch to Waterfall. But had Sabrina just gone for an attacking move, I would have lost. Normally I'd go to Cinnabar next, but we still have to battle Erica, so we might as well battle her and get her out of the way. And at this point in the run, we outlevel all of her Pokemon by nearly 20 levels, so it's a one-shot sweep with Ice Beam. And with Erica out of the way, it's time to fly back to Pallet Town and surf to Cinnabar Island. And Blaine's gym will make for a good training spot, but there are 4 trainers in particular I have in mind. There's a Burglar and a Super Nerd with a Ninetales on their team as the final Pokemon. There's also a Burglar with a level 41 Ponyta, and a Burglar with a level 41 Rapidash. The experience yielded from these trainers is the best considering 3 out of the 4 have final evolutions on their team. By the time I take on Blaine, I'm level 49, and although I don't outlevel all of his Pokemon by the same margin that I did with Erica, it's still a one-shot sweep on all of his Pokemon with Waterfall. It's time to head to Viridian Gym to take on Giovanni for the final time, and Seaking's time isn't bad. It has an in-game time of 3 hours 24 minutes. Dondozo was at 3 hours 36 minutes at this point, but Dondozo was also in the slow level up group and had a little bit better of a moveset to go with it. The battle against Giovanni follows the same trend as Blaine, where all of his Pokemon are one-shots with Waterfall. The home stretch for Seaking wasn't bad, but now we have the 6 toughest trainers in the game left. Despite Double Edge being an available TM, I still have Horn Attack on my moveset for my strongest physical move. I enter the battle at level 52, about to level up to 53, but I would prefer 53 about to level up to 54, because after we freeze Pidgeot with Ice Beam and knock it out with Horn Attack, we could level up to 54 and learn Agility. Unfortunately, we're leveling up to 53, we then knock out Rhyhorn with Waterfall. Gyarados is next, and I'm just going for a Horn Drill on it. It hits me with Leer and Bite before my third Horn Drill finally hits to one-hit KO it. Out comes Growlithe. It's going to be a one-shot with Waterfall, but now we have the final 2 Pokemon, Alakazam and Venusaur. Alakazam doesn't outspeed, Horn Attack does over half, it starts going for Recover, and then goes for Reflect. I switch to Waterfall because it's going to do more damage at this point. We knock it out. Venusaur hangs on from an Ice Beam, and Razor Leaf takes me out. And I tried the battle again immediately, but I didn't even make it to Venusaur in the next attempt. Alakazam took me out with Psychic, and it outsped me in this battle, so he must have been speed tied. Since I was close to leveling up before the battle, I battled one of the bird keepers west of Fuchsia, and then popped rare candies to bring myself to level 59. We now have Agility on our moveset, and Ice Beam is now a one-hit KO on Pidgeot. Against Rhyhorn, I'm going to set up Agility for Badge Boost. It just goes for Horn Drill and Fury Attack, wasting some time. I wish it would have went for Leer. We can knock it out with Ice Beam. And from here, the rest of the battle hopefully will go smoothly. Gyarados comes out, I go for Ice Beam, and I get a lucky freeze, so I'll take it. Horn Attack finishes it off. Growlithe, just like last time, it's going to go down in one Waterfall, and once again we move on to the final 2 Pokemon. We're going to outspeed Alakazam because of Agility. Waterfall does half, and it hits me with Psychic. Not doing too much, we knock it out the next turn. Out comes Venusaur, Ice Beam please one-hit KO, and it does thanks to a crit. All we have left is the League, and let's talk about them. I don't think Lorelei is going to be a problem, but she's not going to be easy either, considering the only neutral move I have to use against her is the 65 base power Horn attack, although I do have the TM for Double Edge in my pocket, and this is partly why I haven't taught Surf to Seaking. Since you can't delete HM moves, its moves are pretty limited as is, and I want to be able to use all 4 slots. I have Mimic in my back pocket for the same reason, but let's continue. Bruno, he won't be a problem, he's never a problem for water types. Agatha could be really trolly. Her ghosts have high speed and special, and we all know how she loves to confuse you and put you to sleep. Lance, he's not going to be a problem. Again, we have Ice Beam, and I also have the TM for Blizzard. And as far as the champion goes, as long as Alakazam doesn't do too much damage to us, I think we got this. Because I'll be able to set up against Rhydon, I'll have to make sure that I save a rare candy to use before that battle, so we don't level up in the middle of it, but I think other than that, we should be good. I took on some optional trainers in Victory Road, so we're level 63 before the league, and at 3 hours 52 minutes outside of Lorelei's chambers. So it looks like we're going to finish around the 4-hour mark, just over it like I thought we would. But let's get into the battle with Lorelei. Against Dewgong, I'm going to start by setting up all 3 agilities. It's just spamming rest against me, but now it goes for takedown and crits. I go for Horn attack, that's doing maybe half. It goes for takedown again, and another Horn attack takes it out. Against Cloyster, I'm going to go for Waterfall because its special is worse than its defense. It does over half, and Spike Cannon hits me 5 times. How annoying. My next Waterfall can't knock it out, but thankfully it misses Supersonic. We knock it out after that, and this is where the battle really slows down. No pun intended. I'm not going to give play-by-play on this battle, only because Horn Attack is looking like a 4-hit KO, but Slowbro is just boosting its stats. It can't do much to me, and eventually it's going to hit me with Growl. Not 1, but 2. And because of this, Horn Attack is not doing anything for damage. Eventually I have to switch to Waterfall to knock it out, and I still have Jinx and Lapras to deal with. Waterfall crits Jinx, but fails to one-shot it. It hits me with Body Slam, which only does 13 HP. We're able to knock it out, but last is Lapras. Waterfall is my best option, and it looks like a 4 to 5 hit KO. Body Slam paralyzes me, and we're going back and forth with our attacks here. It's going to be a close one, and I get fully paralyzed, and it knocks me out. And that first battle was really down to the wire. I try again immediately, and I don't think the strategy is too flawed. Once again against Dewgong, I want to start setting up agility. I want to get all 3 up, and it goes for rest early due to taking recoil from takedown. Horn Attack does half, and a second can't knock it out, but Lorelei just uses a super potion and we can take it out from there. Cloyster, I go for Waterfall like last time. This time, Spike Cannon gets a critical hit, but thankfully it only hits twice. A second Waterfall knocks it out. Against Slowbro, I decide this time let's just go for Waterfall. It hits me with Growl right away. Another Waterfall, critting, that's nice. It goes for Amnesia, so Waterfall is going to do significantly less, and because of the retroactive super potion, it's going to take 2 more to knock it out. Out comes Jinx, and just like last time, Waterfall can't one-hit KO it, but it comes close. It hits me with Double Slap, critting and only hitting twice. We take it out the next turn, and all that's left is Lapras. Just like the first battle, I'm just going to go for Waterfall, and it's a Waterfall versus Body Slam matchup here. Lapras does eventually go for Confuse Ray, but I do get through the confusion to knock it out with Waterfall. So with a little bit better luck coming our way, we were able to get by that one. And next up is Bruno. And as I stated before, we're a water Pokemon, and it's a one-shot sweep with Waterfall and Ice Beam, except for the Machamp, who takes 2 Ice Beams. So with Bruno out of the way, it's time to move on to Agatha. And this battle was really interesting, and down to the wire. Against her first Gengar, I go for Waterfall, which gets a critical hit doing about 3/4. It confuses me, and I hit myself on the following turn. It just goes for Confuse Ray again, and I break through the confusion to hit it with Waterfall and knock it out. We level up going into the Golbat. I'm going to go for Ice Beam. It doesn't one-hit KO it, and Golbat goes for Haze. I try to set up some badge boost because of that, but it just goes for Haze again. We knock it out with Ice Beam. Haunter is next. Waterfall does over half to it, that's good, but unfortunately it confuses me with Confuse Ray. I hit myself, and then it goes for Nightshade. So this is starting to get bad. We break out of confusion and knock it out with Waterfall. Arbok is next. Waterfall can't one-shot it, and it hits me with Glare. It now outspeeds and goes for Acid, dropping my defense. I go for Agility to try to nullify the paralysis. I go for Waterfall the next turn, we're able to knock it out, and that defense drop from Acid actually badge boosted us some. Out comes the final Gengar. Waterfall's doing a third, it hits me with Nightshade. I go for another Waterfall, and it goes for Dream Eater. Had it just gone for Nightshade, I would have lost. Next up in the league we have Lance, and I'm gonna do something that I probably could have and should have done before the Agatha battle, and that's teach Blizzard. And I'm gonna get rid of Horn Attack for it. There's really no use for Horn Attack anymore, and I still do have the TM for Double Edge if I want a stronger physical attacking move on my moveset, but I don't think I'm going to need it. I think Blizzard and Ice Beam will be just enough to get by the only obstacle on his team, which is Gyarados, and also his lead Pokemon. The battle doesn't start in my favor as I miss Blizzard and it hits me with Dragon Rage. I hit my second Blizzard, doing maybe a third, and then it hits me with Hyper Beam. I go for Agility to badge boost some since it has to recharge. Blizzard's doing slightly more damage, and Lance uses a Hyper Potion. Blizzard looks like it's doing just under half now, and I get Dragon Rage, a Blizzard miss, another Dragon Rage, a Blizzard hit that fails to knock it out, and Leer. We have 5 HP remaining for the final 4 Pokemon. But it's a good thing that the final 4 are pushovers, and because we used an Agility, we're going to outspeed everything. All you have to do is make it by Gyarados, and the battle is yours. Before the champion battle, after healing up, I'm going to use my last rare candy so that we hopefully don't level up before Venusaur. I decided not to teach Double Edge or Mimic. Since I have a badge boosting move in Agility, I don't think Mimic will be needed. Unless Arcanine had a better fire move than Ember. Other than say Psychic or Recover from Alakazam, there's really nothing worth mimicking off the champion's team. Let's see if Seaking can defeat the champion on its first attempt though. Pidgeot cooperates by just going for Whirlwind as I set up 3 Agilities. From there, Ice Beam is able to get the one-shot, and nothing is going to be outspeeding us for the rest of the battle. Alakazam, I go for Blizzard. It does half as it sets up Reflect. From here, I go for Waterfall. It finishes it off and probably should have went for Waterfall from the start. Rhydon, it's going to go down to 1 Waterfall, so that's 3 Pokemon down. And next we have to deal with the problem child Gyarados. I go for Blizzard, it does half, it counters with Hyper Beam, which does about a quarter of my health. I opt for the higher accuracy move in Ice Beam since it has to recharge, which KOs it over those 2 turns. Out comes Arcanine, I go for Waterfall, this should be a one-shot, and it is. All that's left is Venusaur. We outspeed it, and I go for Blizzard, which gets the one-shot, and crowns Seaking champion of the league. And this was a really fun run, and I've got a lot more water Pokemon coming up on the channel over the next month or 2. Of all of them though, I thought Seaking would be one of the worst, either it or Seadra. We still have to see how Seadra does when its run comes along, but for now, Seaking finishes the game at level 68 with a final in-game time of 4 hours and 7 minutes. I'm still redoing the tier list some, and it has some Pokemon that are on there who have yet to come to the channel, so there's your warning for spoilers, along with what's in the description. But if I had to rank Seaking, it would be in the C tier. I would put it 4th in the C tier, behind Arbok, Dondozo, and Magneton, but ahead of the likes of Hitmonlee and Hitmontop. And I know Seaking probably isn't the most entertaining Pokemon to watch, but if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for the continued support. I'm working on other videos along with some more custom-made ROMs. And don't worry, I know someone's gonna comment, when's a Starmie run coming? It's in the works. We've got a few Pokemon ahead of it, including the Dome Lord and Lord Helix, along with a possible Nuzlocke. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my next video though. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everybody.